Hello, friends, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm gonna be following a YouTube tutorial's instructions on how to cut my own hair. And then I'm going to be cutting my own hair. So earlier this year, there was a trend of attempting to follow other people's YouTube tutorials to see if they were actually doable. For example, I myself recreated one of Simply Nailogical's nail art videos with solidly mediocre results, but apparently very upsetting nail shapes. So today, I'll be venturing into a different, but arguably more high-stakes genre of tutorial, hair doing. As for my current hairdo, I haven't cut it or done anything official to it since Brad Mondo snipped it for our perfect makeover video, and I think it's time for it to be short once more. Up until this point, I've had trouble finding the right time to get it done, mainly because I don't want to cut it in the middle of producing a video and have my hair just suddenly change. But because we're sort of always filming something in the background, I decided to just make a video about it so it actually finally happens. And maybe I'll learn something in the process. Maybe. Now, I don't think I'm the first person to do this. In fact, I know I'm not the first person to do this. And though my personal inspiration for this video was Jenna Marble's Ratchet Salon, I'm gonna link a few haircutting videos in the description below for your viewing pleasure. So I guess with that, let's begin. My only hope is that I don't end up in a hairdresser reacts video.
Oh, that is a disaster.
Okay, so we've transformed our filming room into sort of like a hair studio, and now I'm here ready to cut my hair with some hopefully protective layers on the ground and table, and a giant vanity in front of me that I can barely see because my camera's right in front of it.
Oh yeah, you can't see anything.
So after looking through quite a bit of the YouTube cutting your own hair video catalog, it seems like most of the tutorials that teach you a doable seeming method to cut your own hair are done by like recreational hair cutters and not really by hair professionals, which make them seem more achievable, but also way less sanctioned. But I guess that just adds to the fun. And for my hair type, there seem to be like two general categories of self-haircut tutorials. The first of which is for like a long layered haircut, and the other which is for a shorter, more blunt bob cut. Long bobs, short bobs, it's up to you, Bob. As I mentioned before, I'm looking to take out a little length, so I'm leaning towards the long bob path, which actually isn't a super different length than from when Brad cut my hair, though his style was more layered and he also lightened my hair a bit, which I think worked well and looked good for like spring and summer. But now that it's November and it's becoming winter, I'm looking for something more severe, blunt and dark, sort of like how it is at 6 p.m. now that daylight savings time has kicked in. Is it daylight savings time or standard time?
Damn, Ben Franklin.
Wait, what, did Ben Franklin do it?
He invented it.
Oh my God. I feel like that's my first negative feeling towards Ben Franklin. So I will be dyeing the leftovers of my hair back to my natural color, or perhaps even a bit darker, and we'll also be following a YouTube tutorial for that. This could be a fun like video transition. Ready? So the tutorial I've chosen is this one by Cherie Ano Nuevo, and it's called How to Cut Your Hair Short and Straight, which is what I want. And her technique is to basically put your hair into two pigtails with rubber bands, and then use the rubber bands to measure where you should cut and then chop. Now that seems to be the general advice from everyone, to use rubber bands and then cut along the rubber bands. It seems like some videos employ like a unicorn horn method, while others opt to like tie your hair underneath your chin like a little goatee. Do I look like a goat?
A little bit.
Like the Taylor Swift goat? And though I would have enjoyed doing either of those methods, I actually don't think my hair is uniformly long enough to pull it off down here or up there. So we're going with pigtails. So I think that's all we need to explain. So let's turn on the tutorial and whip out the scissors.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to cut my hair.
Same. So the tutorial starts with just combing out your hair, so let's do that. Oh, there actually are a fair amount of knots in my hair. And then step 2 is to make sure my part is where I want it to be. I feel like my part is always a little bit uneven. Is that a line?
I see a part.
But is it straight?
Ish.
Eh. whatever. And then the third step is to divide my hair into 2 even sections, regardless of my part, and put one side to the side.
Now here's a close-up of my dry ends, and now you can clearly see that it is in need of a cut.
Do my ends look like that? Kind of, honestly.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, and then the next step is to make like a very smooth and flat pigtail on this side with the rubber band. All right, how's that?
Yeah, I think it looks like it's choppable.
Oh, well, this is not the chopping rubber band.
No, I know.
This is the intermediary rubber band. And then do the same thing with the side I just put away. Ooh, how's that? I haven't rocked the pigtails in a minute.
When's the last time you had pigtails?
Maybe like 98, you know, like kindergarten years. All right, so I will watch to confirm, but I'm pretty sure the next step is the cutting template rubber band.
Now with another rubber band, tie that beneath the ponytail you just did. This rubber band will act as a guide as to how short you will cut your hair.
Yes, this is the important one. The other one was just a throwaway. So it's in, and now I'm gonna pull it downwards. I feel like my ideal length for this lob is like shoulder length or maybe a little bit above shoulder length, but I feel like for the initial chop, I should give a little bit of leeway and like go a little longer, just because like when I'm gonna be evening it out and fixing it, I can only go shorter. All right, so the next I put in another measuring rubber band on the other side, and I have to get the 2 rubber bands even, so the cut is even.
This is the high stakes part.
All right, I feel like this is like pretty close to even. I'm just gonna go check in the bathroom really quick, just to make sure. I think that this rubber band over here is slightly lower than this rubber band, but I think the lower rubber bands are at the same height, or at least sort of like approximately close, near to each other, hopefully. All right, so I'm pretty sure that the next step is just to cut, but let's just double check to make sure.
I'm scared. I'm scared. It's not that much, but I'm still scared.
She's scared. Should I be scared? I mean, I guess it makes sense to be nervous, but I felt like we were just going along so well, so confidently. She was telling me what to do, and now I'm not so sure. Though I guess she did publish the video, so it must not have turned out too bad in her opinion. Oh. All right, so she just cuts right above the rubber band. She just goes for it. She just starts like sawing, basically.
Sounds straightforward.
I'm gonna do this side first because I can see it in this mirror here. Oh my God. All right, I just wanna make sure my scissors aren't like at an angle. I mean, I guess we would just end up with like an angled bob, but that's not what this tutorial is about. Ready?
Cut away.
Oh my God, it's happening.
All right, hold.
So you can't say that.
Go. And snip.
Oh my God, it was totally at an angle. Oh my God, it's at an angle now, it's getting worse.
Yeah, just chop through us off. And snip.
Look.
How'd you miss so much?
I don't know. Oh my God. The weird thing is like, it looks crazy right here, right? It looks crazy. But right here, it looks okay.
Yeah, I think you have an outside shot of ending up in one of those fail compilations now.
Maybe if they like trim the video like just to this part. I'm determined to come back.
That was the first chop you've ever done of your own hair, so.
And listen, we all start from somewhere. Like Drake, I started from the bottom, and now we hair.
Wow.
What does that mean?
That's not making a video.
All right, so now I think we just do hopefully the same thing on the other side.
What do you mean hopefully?
I'm trying to now mess up the same amount on both sides.
That's gonna be tricky.
Ready?
Yeah. Chop away. Little strokes. There you go. I think you're gonna have the same amount of air on this side too.
Are you serious?
Maybe even more.
Oh my God, Ty, I'm doing a really bad job. Oh my God. Oh, this is a hack job. This is character assassination.
Yeah.
You know what? They look pretty similar. I think that if I were to ever do this again, I would need a couple more pigtails because my pigtails are just way too thick for me to hack through.
It's kind of like you're trying to like hole punch a bunch of paper at the same time.
Yes, it's a similar sensation.
Yeah.
Ooh, my hair smells good.
It does smell kind of nice, actually.
Here, do you want some? I call this serial killer ASMR. Okay, so we're here now. So let me just see what's next up in our tutorial. I think it's probably take out your pigtails and look at what you hath wrought, but we could just double check, I guess.
Now it's time to reveal how the actual cut looks.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm liking what I'm seeing, but of course we need to go in and clean the cut up a bit.
All right, there we go. I guess we should see what I'm gonna see, and then we'll clean it up. Oh!
Okay. That actually looks kind of good. It looks stylishly uneven.
Oh, it's incredibly uneven. All right, ready for the other one?
Yeah, go.
And oh,
Oh wow, that's really uneven.
Oh, you got some bonus hair there.
Okay, first eye check. The length itself, I really like. I can't see the back, so I can't see the jaggedness, but like, I like this.
Here, flip towards me. Oh, it's springy as shit. You know what it looks like right now, Saf? You look like Lord Farquaad.
That's so rude.
No, I mean that lovingly. I think he has good hair.
I was gonna say I'm going for like a Dua Lipa haircut, and you say Lord Farquaad. Well, regardless, it's still pretty choppy, so I think we're gonna have to fix it so it's even all the way around, which is in fact Cherie's next step.
Start by sectioning your hair off and work with the bottom layers.
All right, so now that I have sort of like half my hair down, I am going to split my hair once again into like halves and then try and see if I can't cut them even.
Comb the hair straight, pinch your hair with your fingers, slide it down till you reach the end, and then cut off those jagged ends straight.
All right, so I'm giving that a go. I'm having a hard time with my depth perception, as you can tell. Interestingly enough, that's not doing a lot for me. Like, as I let go, it's still really long in the back there. All right, I'm going to do a first evening pass before I do Cherie's method, just because I don't think that she anticipated my level of mess up. See, I feel like now there's less of that like crazy long stuff. Now it's more just like generally jagged. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to Cherie's method of like pinching the hair together and cutting straight across to even it. But see, look, now that I let it go, did you see that?
What happened?
Look, listen, I let it go. And then what is that?
You gotta get rid of that.
How? Because it seems like every time I bring the hair together, I end up cutting like the front part of my hair, which is already like the length I want, and then the back part like doesn't end up doing anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's turning into a mullet almost.
And even though Cherie has more tricks as to how to even out the back, I'm worried that I'm gonna keep accidentally cutting the front as well. So I'm just gonna do some point cutting throughout to soften up the edges. But besides that, I'm not sure there's really much more I can do at this point. I mean, listen, I actually don't think that it looks like too crazy bad right now. It's just like the back that's bad.
You know what though? The back's on the back. And you film everything from the front.
Yeah, so who can really tell? Now in the rest of Cherie's tutorial, she basically continues to even it out and then she straightens her hair to like show you how it looks. And I think in general, she seems to do a really good job with her own hair. And I think that for me, her tutorial definitely like worked to a degree. I had some fun doing the main choppage and I'm still like pretty impressed by these guys right here. But I think in general, I may need to seek some professional help for my lump. But for now, we're just gonna move on to the dye and hope that if I darken everything up a bit, it'll be harder to see. Okay, so I went to go take a shower because I was covered in hair and getting very itchy. In fact, my station is still covered in hair, and in fact, my chair is also covered in hair. I don't think I knew this beforehand, but it seems that hair is the glitter of body parts. But regardless, I have a hair dyeing video queued up, so let's dye. So this video is called Watch Me Dye My Hair, and it's by Myra Touch of Glam. And to be fair, it's not exactly a tutorial. She's just sort of like walking through how she dyes her hair, but her method seems easy enough and her hair ends up looking pretty good, so I'm on board.
I've always dyed my own hair. My mom usually helps me dye my hair. Today I'm gonna dye it alone, but let's do it.
All right, so the first thing that Myra does is that she protects her hairline and her ears. So I have this stain barrier cream. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on my finger and then just like put it on my hairline. Ooh! Oh, it's thick. It feels like Elmer's glue. I should go around the sideburns, I suppose. And then the ears are really in danger here. All right, so her next step is that she pours the entire bottle of hair dye into her little bucket. And the dye I have is this demi-permanent cream shade in the color 3N, which from what I can tell, looks to be about my natural hair color. I'm not sure how much I need. She uses her entire bottle, but she also has longer hair than I do. Oh, it's white. I thought it would be brown. Is that weird?
I thought it was gonna be black.
All right, and then I match it 1-to-1 with the developer. All right, so now I get to take out my fun brush and start mixing. So it hasn't turned brown yet, so I'm just gonna apply it to my head and hope for the best. I mean, the box says it was brown.
We typically believe boxes.
Basically, Myra's next step is just to section off her hair and start putting it on. So I think we should just do that. Whoop. You know what?
What's up?
I should really put gloves on.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of into like the elegance of this brush. Like I feel very much like, but I'm worried about like covering the whole strand. So I feel like I'm just kind of like starting with the brush and ending with the hand. I feel like it should look more exciting, but it's really still just like a light beige color. Oh!
What?
Interesting.
What's up?
Look at what has happened to my ear.
Yeah, that's stained.
All right, so clearly I'm going to have to clean off my ears quickly once we've done this whole thing, but it seems like it is working. All right, cool. So I'm gonna let down the rest of my hair and continue to dye slowly. To be honest, I've just like been so ready to dye my hair. And even though I have like a bizarre carpet like growing in the back, I feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, you look like Michael Scott after he got gum in his hair. Dwight's like putting peanut butter into his hair.
That's how I feel every day of my life. I feel like, you know, everyone wants to grow up and be like a Jim.
Yeah.
And I grew up and I ended up a Michael. All right, so I think I'm pretty close to being done. I'm just gonna take like the last bit of dye on my hands and give my head like a final stroke. There was like one slightly gray hair over here that hopefully is covered now.
Yeah, he's dead now.
Well, at least he has died. All right, here's to hoping that's enough dye in my hair. So I'm gonna wait another like 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna go and wash this out, and then we'll check back in and see how it is. Okay, so this is my hair after it's been washed and dried, and I think that overall I'm liking the darkness. I'm feeling very Midnight in Paris.
What does that mean?
I don't know, just like a midnight sky, or like an inkwell that a writer's dipping into with their quill. Did they still use quills in the 1920s?
I do not know.
I think that in general, the dye job seems to be pretty even. I haven't found any spots that were conspicuously not dyed yet, but you know, there's a lot of my head that I can't see, so something may turn up. So with the cut and the dye job done, I think that this is like my final results of my personal handiwork. I think that in terms of what you guys can see at this moment from the front, I think it looks pretty decent, but while the front might be like an 8 out of 10, the back is more like a 4 or lower. So in light of that, I do think I should probably get the back cleaned up a little bit by a professional, just so I can, you know, continue filming videos without everyone commenting, what is that on the back of your head? So tomorrow, I'm gonna go visit our friend Natalie at This or Die Salon, and she's gonna help me out. All right, so it is the next morning, and we are here at This or Die with Natalie. All right, so basically, Natalie, what I did is that I put my hair into 2 pigtails, and then I just cut across. And even though like I took it out after and tried to like even it out, there's a part in the back that started off kind of jagged that I like can't really get.
Okay, so I definitely see it's longer back there. You kind of have like a little ducktail. Yeah. The reason why it's longer is because you pulled the back to the front. So then when you bring it back again, that's why it's got that rounded shape back there.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, it's not the worst I've seen, so that's good.
There you go, Saf. Not the worst.
Not the worst she's seen. So after we showed Natalie my handiwork, I had a couple of questions for her. So I guess my first question would be, if I were to continue cutting my own hair, how would I get to the back?
Well, it was wet, right, when you did it?
No.
Okay. And it worked for the person in the YouTube video?
Her hair ended up looking pretty good.
And it was short like yours?
It wasn't as short as mine.
Right. Well, that's why it's harder to cut as well, because it's shorter in the back.
We came to that conclusion after we did it. So per Natalie, if I were to continue this haircut on my own, I should start off with a handheld mirror.
And then you would spin, you know, look in the back.
Oh, that's my first really good look at it.
I mean, you can see that there's some definite issue right there. First, what I would do is do your hair wet, because that's how you're gonna get it the straightest. And then you would somehow have to like reach behind with the scissors and try to cut this off.
But even with these suggestions, Natalie was skeptical that you could really pull it off on your own, especially at this length.
I just don't think it would be ever perfectly straight.
So it seems hard.
It's very hard.
She also noted that my hair was probably a little thick for a 2-pigtail approach.
You have a lot of hair, so if your hair was finer, I think it would have been easier.
That's what I was encountering too, because I think her pigtails were a bit like thinner, so when she was sort of trimming, she didn't get like stuck.
Exactly.
Yeah. But of course, hindsight is 20/20, unless I guess you're trying to see the back of your head.
We can definitely help you out today though. I could leave the front though if you want. I mean, that could be your haircut and mine will be in the back.
Yeah, see, we can do half and half.
Yeah. Teamwork.
Now, I think we were Natalie's first customers to get ourselves into this predicament following a YouTube tutorial, but we weren't her first at-home haircut fix.
I definitely had people cut their own bangs all the time. Or I feel like people have had too much wine at night and they're like, I need bangs, and then cut them themselves.
Yeah.
And though there was no wine involved in our decision, it probably would have been a better excuse.
All right, Natalie, if you were to rate Saf's haircut, what would you give it?
The front was good. The front was like an 8.
Okay.
The back was like a 3.
All right, that's pretty similar to what we said.
We literally did 8 and 4.
Yeah, so we're close, on the same page.
So after evening out the whole situation, Natalie also blow dried and flat ironed my hair so it looked nice and styled, almost as if I had gotten a real haircut.
I'm getting even stronger Lord Farquaad vibes right now.
Damn it, Ty.
That's the length, okay? I'm saying it's dark hair. That's just what it is.
That's funny.
And despite Tyler's constant Shrek references, I think we were liking it.
This looks very professional.
Yay!
Just like the dark and the cut and the angle.
Oh, you mean professional like I look like a business professional?
Yeah, I mean, you just look like, I don't know, just someone to take serious, you know?
I am someone to take seriously. Cut back to, Awesome, well thank you so much Natalie for
You're
helping
welcome.
us. We needed some help.
It wasn't so bad.
So bad, emphasis on so.
It was so.
All right, so this is my cut by me but fixed by a professional haircut. Overall, I would say the good thing is that I like my hair as it is right now. I'm a pretty big fan of the bouncy length and I feel like I'll get like a good amount of mileage out of this haircut, as in like I feel like it'll be a length that I like for a long time. And I'm also a pretty big fan of the color. I'm glad we're back to dark, and I know that this color, even though like it's a little bit darker than my old hair color, will fade over time, but I also like it like this. I feel like Edna Mode, but maybe a bit taller. I'm maybe less slap happy. So with these YouTube tutorials, I think I definitely did a better job with the dye than with the cut, but we weren't so far gone that Natalie couldn't salvage it, so it wasn't a complete hair fail. All in all though, I had a pretty good time, and I do actually think I learned a few things, and though I'm not sure my experience will inspire anyone to do this at home, if you are gonna give these tutorials a go, I would probably recommend that you do more of a trim than like a true style change like I went for. Or if you want to do the full Monty, just be prepared to get it fixed. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked that video, make sure to shamash that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to shamash that subscribe button. Also, if you happen to like the Hello Friends shirt I was wearing at the beginning of this video, you can get it right now at fiendsbysoft.com, as well as other things if you want those. Also, we're making a mug, don't tell anyone. Here are my social media handles, and a big shout out to Dee Dee. Thanks for watching, Dee Dee, and I'll see you guys next time.